Hey, what's up guys, I'm going to show you how you can make a black flash in Roblox Studio. This was made inside of a framework, so if you'd like to just copy the framework, the link is in the description. You can also just get the whole black flash in the description, or you could follow along, it's up to you. What we will need is these two folders, one for enemies and one for player effects. Inside of enemies you put all of the enemies, and in replicator storage we need folder for assets, folder for application, folder for remotes. Inside of application we need abilities, and in here you'd have the module. Inside of assets you need animations and sounds. You can make your own ones, take them from the toolbox, whatever you have to do or you want to do. I just took this sound from the toolbox, and the animation I just quickly made something so it's not animationless. And in replication, inside of here, the module, you'd have your actual effect. For me it's just a part which has some effects inside of it, and then I'll just loop through that and emit all of them. Now in server script service we have this server script, and inside of it is the same thing as replication for modes and abilities. Now the reason modes is here is because it's a framework and you'd have many other things, so you don't have to use the modes if you don't have any. But yeah, in the abilities you just add a module for each different ability, and it's that simple. And final thing is starter player scripts, two scripts, one for inputs and one for application. Now I'll quickly show you the scripts that are in the framework, if you'd like to just copy those and not get it from the description. So it would be replication right here, you can copy this, I'll zoom in a bit, and then it's this server script here for main, and then it would also just be the inputs. So yeah, this is where it starts. Now we can leave the mouse there. These two services, replicator storage and user input service. Remotes folder, so we can fire through the player and the character. Make sure you have this, it's very important. If you don't have this, your scripts can break. And then the mouse, this isn't used for this, but it's just in every framework because it's used for some abilities. And here we do input began connect function, input GPE. GPE is mainly to check if you're typing, so if you're typing return end, so it'll just stop here and go back. Then we check the input, so if the input.key code is 1, then it will fire through the server. You can change this key to whatever you want, it's up to you. And if you'd like to do a mouse input, you could just do user input type instead, like this, and here you put the key, so mouse button 1, whatever. From here we fire through to the server, and in here you have these parameters: the name of the folder, so abilities, the name of the module, which is black flash, and the name of the function inside of the module, which is fire. So here we go, module.fire. First parameter is player, that's the first thing that always gets sent through from a local script. We check if the character is stunned, and if they're stunned then they can't use the ability. And here we do the cooldown. So at the top we have previous use, and the remotes and the services like usual. So we just check if the current use, which is equal to time. Time is equal to when the server started, just a big number, and we just set this value to time. We check if time minus the previous use, which at the start would be 0, is more than 4, then it would return, which means that it's on cooldown. Now we also check here if the previous use is not equal to 0, just in case, because on the first use, previous use would be equal to 0, so this would actually cause it to start the cooldown, which means you wouldn't be able to use the ability on the first use. And because of this, you can use it on the first use, and then you're good. So after this, you would just set previous use to current use, which would basically just mean the last time you used it. So previous use would actually be equal to the last time you used it, and then you would just check it again with the most recent time you used it, and if that's more than 4, then it will cool down. If not, then it will work. Here we just set the speed and jump height to 0, so you don't move. And then we fire through to the replicator. In here you just want to fire the player, then the parameters, and the parameters are just the same thing. It's the name of the folder, the module, and then the function side of it. So from here we will go to the replicator, and then we go to this This is the client side, and in here we have just the animations and the effects. There's not much to the effects. You'd have to, make your own effects that are much nicer and things like that. But this is mainly like the scripting side of things. So in here you'd have the animations, and yeah, obviously at the top you'd have the services, the folders, so for animations, for the remotes, and for the sounds. And then you want to have a table here for the animation tracks. This is how you do the animation side of things. And we use a table in case there are like multiple animations. It's not set up for multiple animations, but you want to have a table if there's multiple animations. So we need the character, humanoid, and then the animator. The animator is inside of every humanoid. So we use this for the animations, and then the animation here is just the folder replicate storage .assets .animations .black flash. So it's where the black flash is. And here we just check if not animations track player. So if it's not inside of there, so if the player doesn't have, if the animations track doesn't have the player, then it will add the player to it and set it equal to the animator load animation the animation. So whenever you try and reference the animation track's player, it will be equal to this, the animation. And here is where we actually get the animation track. So we just set this new variable animation track to the animation tracks table with the player, which is essentially the same as doing this, but we have the table there because it would be helpful. Like it's more optimized, I guess. You'd have multiple animations and things like that, depending on what you make. And then yeah, we just play this. That's it. Then we wait 0.2 seconds and we fire through back to the server for the actual hitbox and things like that. So same things as before, just with a different function. So the function here is attack, and real quick, this function here is just to check for hitboxes. Just copy this down. Loops through the player effects folder, checks if there's anything with the attribute owner, which is equal to the character's name, and if it does, then it will destroy. So that's for hitboxes and stuff like that. Basically, if someone's attacking and you hit them, it will destroy the hitbox, so you don't get hit. And here we go. We have humanoid root part, character, humanoid, the usual things, and we set the walk speed and the jump height back to normal. And then we create the hitbox. We just clone the hitbox, which is inside of the module, right here. Then we set the hitbox's position to the character, the humanoid root part C-frame, plus the humanoid root part.cframe.look vector, so it's a bit in front of you. Then we parent it to the workspace.player effects, and we set the can collect to false and the can touch to true. You don't really have to do this as long as you've already set up your hitbox in here. So can collide off. Make sure anchored is on, because we don't weld this one. If you want to, you can weld the hitbox. I've done a video which you do that in. You could check the Armament Haki one. That one does it. But yeah, here we have a table for everything that we've hit. Then all we do is the hitbox.touched connect function hit. So if you touch something with the hitbox, then we check if the hit and the hit.parent is not equal to the character. So if the thing you hit is not equal to you, the enemy character will be equal to the hit.parent, which will be equal to the enemy character. And that's what the hit.parent would be if it's not you. Then we check. Then we just get the enemy humanoid and the enemy humanoid root part from the enemy character. And if the enemy has a humanoid and the humanoid's health is more than 0, so if it's not dead, then we check if they're not inside of the table. This is done so you don't hit the same person multiple times with one attack, because of how hitboxes work. So if they're not on the table, then it would add them to the table so they don't get hit again. And then here you fire through the effects, which I'll get to. Or I could do that now. So here we fire through, we use firewall client so that it fires for every single player in the server, not just you. That's the difference between fire clients and fire all clients. And here we send through the parameters of the type, which is the same, and the function, the same. And we send through the character and then the enemy character that we want the effects to be on. I didn't actually believe that I used the enemy character. Oh no, I didn't use my own character. I did use the enemy character. That's where the effects are put on. Yeah, here you would use, if you have like a charge up effect, you would have this exact thing. I didn't make a charge up effect, but you would just have this, and you don't need the enemy character. and you can just name it charge effects. And then here you would just do module.charge effects function character, and here you would just do all the effects for charging up. I didn't do this, so no, I'm not gonna make the effects and show that, but it's quite simple. It's just basically the same thing, but on your arm you'd weld it to your arm. You just put the effects inside of your arm. Or I've done the Armament Haki video that shows how to do that a lot better. But yeah, let's take this out. So yeah, here we just check if the enemy character has the attribute called attacking. If they do, then it will destroy their hitbox. Then we just add a body velocity to knock the character back. This doesn't have ragdolling, but you can add that yourself. This is just knockback, upwards and backwards, depending on where you are compared to the thing you're hitting, or the enemy you're hitting. Then we do enemy humanoid take damage 10. This is how much damage you take. You change that number. And here we just set the attribute stunned to true for 0.4 seconds, and then we would remove that. Nil just removes it, deletes it. Here, yeah, you implement your own logic if you're blocking. I'm not going to get into that because you can have like a block bar, you can have like some attacks guard break, some don't. Depends on what game you're making. So do that for your game, however it should be, however you like it. And here is just the exact same code that's in here. This is just if the thing you're hitting is not attacking, so it has no reason to remove the hitbox. So yeah, that's it for the hitbox side of things. And then the actual effects, which are quite simple, as very simple effects. I didn't really do anything crazy for that. So we just get the enemy humanoid root part, because that's where we're going to put the effects. We play the black flash sound, which we got from the toolbox. And here we have the effect that we're going to clone, which is inside of the script. So I just clone this and I put it in the enemy humanoid root part. Well, I put it in the workspace, but the position of it is the enemy humanoid root part. But that's where we're going to be, that's where the thing you hit would be. And then we just add it for 2.5 seconds. This is what the read does. It adds whatever item for whatever duration you want. Then here we just wait 0.3 seconds and we would loop through the explode effect and disable the particle emitter. This is so it's the effects go away smoothly. And I think that's it. Yeah, you don't need the run service in here, but as I've mentioned many times, just have them in everything because they are used in many different types of abilities. It's just part of the framework. So yeah, that's everything. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will be doing more videos.